Finally, we're getting somewhere by working backwards. I am scrapping the whole thing. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. My name is Nelly and I am an indie author of a bunch of books that's trying to write her first epic fantasy story that doesn't rely on the romance. And it's not going the best. But we're gonna get through it. This is like a 3-year project though. The series, not just one book. I think my problem with writing this book right now is that I've never written a fantasy story in first person, and I want this series to be in first person. So that must be the problem, because I know what I want the scenes to be, and I think if I started writing them right now in third person, I would actually be able to do them. But for some reason, doing it in first person is just blanking. Like, and you know what it is? It's because I'm like actually trying to create this story, whereas all of the other books I've written, they've come to me. This one I'm trying to create. So it's like I'm not in the characters' heads yet because I'm trying to create it. So the characters have a block. They're not letting me in. And considering I want to do this in first person, I need them to let me in. So yeah, it's being difficult with me. I have written one scene. I didn't finish writing the scene, but I wrote the scene. Basically, I finished writing the scene. I just didn't write the very beginning part of it because that is based off of the scene that comes before that, and I haven't written that scene yet. So yeah, like I've written a first draft of it, meaning there's no like description of characters or the place they're in or anything like that. And obviously things will expand and grow as I actually build out the story. But we got that done. I did that 2 days ago. I did that on the 2nd of January, which funnily enough, because I have a spreadsheet that tracks like how many words I write when I write all that stuff. 2023, I also wrote my first thing in on the 2nd of January, and then I didn't write again until the 14th of January for 2023. So it's the 4th of January right now, so if I write today, I'll be doing better. That's if I can get into any of my characters' heads. Also, in 2023, I wrote just under 200,000 words, and considering I didn't write for like 5 months because I didn't write for December, November, October. September I only wrote 2 days, so I'm not counting it, and I didn't write for August because those 2 days of September could be put into July because I stopped writing around July like 22nd, 23rd. So yeah, after July I basically didn't write at all. So 200,000 words in about 7 months? No, it's 198,845 words, but whatever. But anyway, the reason I can't write, I think, is because of this first person problem. Although, is it because I'm creating? No, I think it's because I'm creating, because I think if I had done like Widow Magic, if I had done any of those characters from, well, if I had done the books in first person, I think it would have been quite simple to be in Hunter's mind and write in first person. It would have been quite simple to be in Maya's mind and write in first person. So yeah, that must be my problem, because this, I don't even know. And also, never mentioned this because I'm just starting these again. So this is gonna be a very detailed, epic, difficult to write fantasy series. And when I say that, I mean like fantasy. I don't mean romantasy, because everything else I've done is romantasy. Where this will have romance in it, but it won't be, it'll definitely be like a subplot. It will not be a main plot. Whereas I feel like, well, I don't feel like, I know my writing, especially in fantasy, tends to be, well, no, in anything, tends to be romance is really the main plot, and then everything else is the subplots. And then in book 1, there will be romance, but I don't see it being as extreme as in the other books. But as I say that, there's also in book 1 gonna be 5 main characters. Later books I see it being more, but currently in book 1 it'll be 5 main characters. And I have 2 main characters outlines ready. The other 3 well, I have the full outline ready based off those 2 main characters. The other 3, I have like 1 or 2 scenes within this outline, but I don't really have their outlines ready, because if you think it's difficult for me to get in these 2 people's heads, it's extremely difficult to get into those other 3 people's heads. So currently we're at 47 scenes. Nope, probably more like 43, because some of these are just blank, because I know there has to be a scene from like this perspective, but I just don't know what that scene is yet. So we have a little over 40 scenes. I've written one. I also do have, though, I don't think I have a full outline of it, but I have like an idea of what I want book 2 to be. And I feel like book 2 I'm more excited for, because book 1 is like, yes, I'm excited for it, yes, it's gonna be great and epic and stuff, but it's really just to like, it's like the basis of the rest of the story. While it's gonna have its own story, like it's still the basis of the rest of the story, so it's not as exciting. Plus book 2, a lot of the stuff that I saw in England and Scotland, especially England, but in England and Scotland, I feel like will be used more in book 2 than in really any of the other stories. So I'm like, should I just go write that? Also, I just wrote, it's not a scene, it's literally like 2 paragraphs, not even, it's like a dialogue of 2 of my characters, of them talking. It's literally like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things, so each person says like 3 things, but that's gonna go in book 2, and it makes me so much more excited. So I'm like, I know this sounds really weird, but should I write book 2 first? I mean, why not, right? I don't know, I'm thinking about it. Maybe I'll go in and see if I can get an outline down for it, because then I can work backwards. And if I know what's happening in book 2, because I pretty much know what's happening in book 2, to the point where like I know the climax perfect. The climax I probably know better in book 2. Well, to be fair, I know the climax in this book 2 actually, but I know the climax reasoning in book 2, I think, more than in this book. Anyway, yeah, the climaxes are really not my problem. The rest of the journey is really my problem right now. Ooh, also, I didn't mention this before, but I took 2 edX classes that I think will actually really help with the production of this story. One of them was the history of Roman law, the other one was Icelandic sagas, medieval Icelandic sagas. And I'm definitely going to be adding the saga part into the story. So those are fun. I cannot wait to do that. And then I am probably, and by probably I mean I'm going to do it, going to get a Lundarium subscription, because there's a bunch of classes on there that I want to take. King Arthur's class being the most prominent. I definitely want to take King Arthur's class, because it's not a King Arthur retelling, it's definitely not, but there's aspects of this story that are King Arthur related. So so I decided to do the timeline for book 1 in order to productively procrastinate. But anyway, I'm doing it, and I'm like going through the scenes that I currently have, and I realized 2 characters that do end up meeting in this book meet in a forest. You know who else met in a forest? Maya and Hunter in Widow Magic. They didn't technically see each other for the first time in the forest, but that's where they met. That's where they like learned each other's names and everything. And as I'm writing this, I'm like, this is where they're meeting. This is where they're gonna learn each other's names and everything. Do I have a thing for forests? Is that what I'm learning? Hello, it has been a while since I've been writing or anything, but I'm trying to get back into it. And I got Pacemaker Press, the like word count thing, to like track it. And also I felt really stupid getting this at first, because it kept tracking my numbers incorrectly, and I was getting annoyed. But anyway, this is what it's looking like, because I wrote on the 2nd and then I didn't write. Then I wrote a tiny bit yesterday, which like by tiny bit I literally mean it was 189 words. Today we're at 628. Basically this was the first page ish of a chapter. This is the first page of a chapter and a first page of the chapters. I basically now have 3 chapters where the first like 200 to 300 words are written, and that's it. But yeah, I'm expecting this to be around 70,000 words, so that's what I put in here. I mean, I always track my stuff just by myself anyway, but I wanted to see it in, you know, this way. But yeah, it's not going well at all, actually. So, oh, also though, I did end up for book 2. So on my, how do I do this so you guys can actually see it? No. Over here, I have like a huge just research section. So on book 2, I figured something out that, like, I had an idea of it, but I didn't know really how I was gonna contribute it into the books. Figured it out. I forgot to mention the beginning of this week on Monday, so Sunday night when I was going to sleep, I do this all the time where I just come up with a story to put myself to sleep. Ended up crying, but like I love the story so much that I was thinking of to fall asleep that I don't remember if it was that night or the next morning. I was like, I could connect this to this epic fantasy, not for like the main characters, but like as just side characters or like characters that you maybe meet once or something like that. So I came to the office, and for 2 hours I just sat there and I wrote out the entire plot of like what, not as an outline, as literally like a dump. And I just love that story. So it'll end up being like a short story or just a connected standalone, but I loved it. So it's going actually kind of well today. I decided that we're gonna write this backwards because I could not focus for the life of me to write this manuscript. So I literally went to the last scene in this book that I have outlined, and I wrote that first. And then I went to the scene right above that, and I'm writing that one now. And it's actually going quite well doing it that way, which sounds so crazy. But I think because I know so much more of like how to develop it come book 2, that the closer we get to book 2, the easier it is. So we're gonna be working backwards on draft 1 for book 1, at least for now. And it's going well for now. I mean, my goal for the day was 3,000 words, and we're currently at 1,918, and we're not done with the scene. So I think finishing the scene and possibly starting another one will get me to that 3,000. Also, I'm writing vampires, and I've never written vampires before. So like they're vampires, but they're technically not vampires. Like there's a lot of, they're vampires in the sense that they drink blood, and like the abilities, like the fast, strong, stuff like that. But it's probably like gonna be it, as in terms of like their vampire-iness, but also they're not called vampires in the book. Anyway, writing them, and it's a lot of fun so far. And it's also a lot of fun not writing it romantically. Like these characters do not like each other, so like none of them. Like even the girls that are friends don't like each other, at least from the start. I'm not sure if they're gonna like each other at the end. I feel like I'm gonna have them fighting though, so I guess none of them are gonna like each other, which is so fun to write. Which sounds crazy, but I feel like it's so much more realistic too. And it's also like I'm gonna have it in the sense that because it's a lot more realistic in the sense that these girls know their weaknesses. Because I've written a bunch of other books before where the girls, sure, they know their weaknesses, but they don't, you know, they're powerful and they're kind of cocky about it in the sense that they know how to fight, or they're not afraid like they should be, because that's a frightening creature right there, but they're not afraid. I'm thinking of Maya right now. But in this one, we're gonna make it completely opposite, where these girls, sure, they have their abilities and they might be like powerful in other aspects, but they know where they stand in terms of a male being in front of them, and like how they might be able to fight them, knowing they cannot defeat a male just based on testosterone. So it's actually fun writing, you know, these characters who know their weaknesses and know there's no way I'm gonna get out of that. And in the same way, writing the other way around, where the males are like cocky about stuff like that. But also, we're gonna find weaknesses for the males too, so I don't know, I'm really enjoying the realisticness of this, even though it's completely unrealistic because, you know, vampires, mages, and all that stuff. But do you know what I inadvertently did? So I'm sitting here writing down the motivations for all of my main characters, just to, you know, make sure that the motivations and the challenges they're gonna get kind of tie in. And the 2 men that I have currently done, I'm like, oh, that was pretty easy to get through. And then I'm trying to do a girl next, and it's so much harder. It doesn't matter which of the girls I choose. And I realized I gave my men more like logical, just get to the point, like this is the goal and this is how we're gonna get there. Whereas the girls have a lot more emotional goals where they're like, this is what I want, this is the outcome that I desire, but like it's not really a set clear plan of how you're gonna get there. And I feel like it's very much something that happens in real life, where men are a lot more like, they just see the prize and they go for the prize, whereas girls, we're like, the feeling is what we're looking for, which is so funny because I didn't do that part on purpose. Like, I know I'm trying to make this realistic, but I didn't do that part on purpose. So, but yeah, I did a good amount of writing today. I actually did a little bit of brainstorming for book 2, because I'm telling you, book 2 stuff keeps coming to me. But it's been a very good day. I've got 100 scenes outlined between books 1 and 2. Surprisingly, both 50 scenes. I didn't do that on purpose. So out of 100 scenes, 10 scenes are written, and we're back to not being able to get in these people's heads. The 10 scenes are from book 1. And I decided I'm just gonna do 100 scenes and like jump between the 2 books, because I feel like once I could get back in these people's heads, getting into book 2 won't be that bad. So yeah, we are technically 20% of the way through epic book 1, but we're 10% of the way through those 100 scenes. 10% of the way through the first 2 books. So yeah, I haven't written in like, technically, that's a lie, I wrote 3 days ago, wrote 2,500 words, but before that it was like over 10 days. And I can't, you know what I really want? Back when I was first writing, I had this studio apartment that I lived in. It was basically just one big empty room, and I did probably like 2 or 3, maybe, yeah, I think like 2 or 3 10K days there. And I did multiple days where I did, you know, not 10K days, but heavy writing days. And I just, every time I think about wanting to do a 10K day, I remember going, so it was like this big room. On one side, there was this huge ass window, and that's next to that was where my bed was. And I would sit at the edge of my bed, like on the ground at the edge of my bed, just like lean against my bed, and just sit there with my lap desk and write. I want to do that again so bad, but my house is always filled with people. There's no space in my house to do that. This place is always filled with people. There's no space, like private space, for me to do that here. So I'm like, I need a writing retreat where I basically get a hotel and I just go and write. But I'm also going to Nashville in like 2 weeks, so I already have that travel stuff planned, although I'm going with a few people in my family, so it's gonna be not really for writing. So yeah, moral of the story is I really wish I could go back to that apartment, to that studio, and sit on the ground with my lap desk and write again. And also, because of that big window, the lighting was always great. It wasn't always like bright, it was like, and it was Boston, so it was kind of moody. But oh, every time I think about doing a 10K day, that's what I think of. And it's just, it doesn't feel the same, it doesn't hit the same, it doesn't motivate me the same way doing it this way. Also, I haven't done 10K day in probably like 2 years, because I've tried multiple times and I just never get past like 3,000 or 4,000 words. And this time I got to 2,500, so even worse. But I ended up doing other stuff for work, so that was fine. But yeah, we have 100 scenes. The goal, by the way, is these 100 scenes, so you have it done by the end of March. We are January 31st, so 2 months minus 8/9, like about 9 days from that for my trip. Not bad, but like it's exact 60 days actually, because this year February has 29 days, March always has 31, so 60 days. If you count today, 61 days minus 9, 51 to 52 days. that's approximately 2 scenes a day. Less, actually, because I already have some written. But yeah, I can't get into it. This is just my prolonged way of saying I can't get into it again, and I don't know why this keeps happening. Also, since I can't write, I'm back to the outline section of it, and I have this part for book 2 where it's just different documents. It says storylines to add, because they're things I thought of but just haven't put into the outline yet. And I have one for one of the girl characters and one for one of the guy characters now, because the girl character I thought of because something that was supposed to happen in book 1, I was like, actually let's have that not happen, and then let's kind of like roll it into book 2 and make this a whole storyline. And I love this idea so much more. But the second one for the guy character, I just thought of 2 days ago because I was watching this French show, this French cartoon, and they had like something reminiscent to Fight Club. And I was like, oh my god, I need to put this into book 2. And now that I'm writing, because I'm writing the storyline to add, and I'm like writing kind of like the points we would need and why this is being added. And I love the idea of why it's being added. Like it brings everything together, makes things start to make more sense for just the actual story. So on Friday, I was actually at the office and I did so much work. I was so proud of myself, but also I was sitting outside, so I didn't want to record it. But we're gonna talk about it now. So first things first, on Thursday night when I was going to sleep, you know, those things like when I'm just dreaming, I'm just imagining something, put myself to sleep, the thing I started thinking of was stuff from book 4 of this series. And you know when like you're writing, not in that moment, but like when you're in the middle of a book and you're having these ideas, so you grab your phone and you just write that scene, like 5 things of dialogue, like not a big thing. So I started doing those. I got, I think, 3 sets of those. So I was like, okay, tomorrow morning I'll put it in. I came on Friday, put those in. 2 of them were for the same scene. One of them was for like the end of book 3. And then that one for book 4, those 2 parts of that scene, I started filling in. So much so that we got to like 3,015 words for that one scene. For that one chapter, that one scene. And technically, it's not done. There's like a little bit at the very end that still needs to be added in. I didn't really know where I wanted it to go, because you know it's book 4, so I just didn't write that part. But I literally wrote 3,000 words for book 4 on Friday, and then I ended up finishing one scene for book 1 after that. So I wrote like 4,500 words, something like that. Altogether 4,100 words, 4,107 words. It was so exciting. I wrote 255 words for book 2 as well, so I was just all over the place for this series. So at this point, we're going back to just write wherever you want to write in the series, as long as it gets written. Preferably sticking to books 1 and 2, but you know what, if I get that inspired that I write 3,000 words for one scene in a later book, then that's what we're gonna do. But yeah, that's what I ended up doing. And then I ended up counting all the scenes I currently have outlined for the entire series. Book 1 currently has 50 scenes, book 2 has 55, book 3 has 13, book 4 has 6, and book 5 has 2. So altogether, currently we're at 126 scenes, 12 of which are written. That's about 9.5% of the way through this series. We're about 11% of the way, no. Yeah, something like that, of the way through book 1. No, that's wrong. The way through book 1 and 2. I think we're 11 scenes through book 1, so it's like 20%. Anyway, not the point. The point is, I did so well on Friday. I was just like I didn't even notice 2 hours passed by. That's how long I was writing. It was a great time. I got an office space. I didn't actually get an office space, but I got it for the day. It's kind of big, honestly. Because I want to do a big writing day today. We'll see if this works, because I used to do my big writing days on like when I had space to myself, and you know, when I was secluded alone. This does have a big open glass door on the side, so like people will be able to see me if they walk by, but this is the more secluded section of the office space, so hopefully not. but I got an office space for the day. It's actually kind of cute. I'm gonna give you a quick tour. We got 2 chairs, cute little rug, that table desk. We got this desk. I'm not gonna use that computer, but it's a computer. And then this desk. I'll probably switch back and forth between the desks. Might even sit on the ground, we'll see. But like, this is what I mean. Like, I'll have variety of where I want to sit and what I want to do. The only thing that could make this better is if I had Dunkin' Donuts with me, because my best writing days always had Dunkin' Donuts because I live in Boston, so there was one on like every corner. Here, there's only a couple. The closest one is a few miles away from, and I'm not gonna order, like I can't get it because there's a Starbucks across the street and a Dunkin' Donuts miles away, you know? And I can't order it because ordering it will cost like over 3 times as much as an actual coffee costs. So I'm gonna go get Starbucks. But the only thing that could make this better would have been a Dunkin'. As I was saying that, someone walked by. This is what I mean. I have a scene and a half done. They're both on the same character. I'm trying to do, I'll probably get the 10 scenes for the day, we'll see. But I'm trying to do it where it's the first of the 10 scenes of like the ones I don't have. So I had 4 scenes at the beginning already done, but like not the first scene. Anyway, that's not important. I feel like I can't talk today, but we got scene and a half done. I'm gonna finish this up and then I think we're gonna switch characters because I am starting to drag a little bit with this character. So we'll see. But yeah, the goal today is to get to 10 scenes, but the ultimate goal is literally just to like start finishing the first chapters so that we actually have a story that's starting to form. And then next time, after this, I'm going to Nashville for like 10 days. And then I think I'm gonna book another office space when I come back. Like not immediately when I come back, but when I come back. And kind of work on the following 10-ish scenes. Basically like the middle. Because I have scenes at the beginning done, scenes at the end done, but nothing in the middle done. So, but that's why I have 2 scenes in the middle done. I got cold. But we're finally 2 full scenes in. You know what I don't like? It's actually not within the 10 scenes that like if I did 10 straight scenes today, it would just cut off on those scenes. But in that section, there's like a fight between 2 sets of characters who like they meet around that section and then they're gonna fight. I don't really like that I'm having them fight. So I'm like, what is that really doing for me? And I feel like it's not really doing anything for the story. But I'm like, because the reason there's a fight, well, that is not the reason, but like part of the fight is like showing animosity between these characters. And I feel like they should just have a different way of doing that because I don't like that they're gonna fight. But also, as I say that, one of my characters, the vampire, is like, he's kind of like the Klaus, you know, he's crazy. So there's already other scenes within, so there's one in particular I'm thinking of. There's already other parts where you're gonna like kind of see that crazy, in the sense that he does things and he'll hurt people without really caring, without thinking about it. So and in that way, I feel like it makes sense for them to have like this fight, but also maybe it's not a fight. Maybe I'll just have him do something stupid that'll like piss off the other characters. I don't know. It doesn't even matter for today because I shouldn't get to that point. But as I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't like that part of the outline. So I might actually literally just change that. And instead of it being a fight, like when I say fight, I mean like physical fight. Instead of being a fight, I might just do something that he does to piss off the other characters. And I don't really know what that'll be. But also like, what is he realistically gonna do to piss off the other characters that the other characters won't fight back with? You know? I don't know. But yeah, we finished those 2. That same Klaus-like character are the scenes that I was finishing. Now, I want to do a different male character. I don't really know who he's like, but I want to do him because I feel like he has like a fun type of scene, like a very hopeful scene at the very beginning. So I think that'll be fun. And then we have a few of like them traveling that we need to get to. We have more of the Klaus-like character. I'm starting to realize that these first few chapters might actually be kind of on the shorter side, at least the ones I'm doing for today, because I haven't even hit 1,000 for any of these yet. I did chapter 1 that 702 words, then chapter 4 that was 938 words, so that was close. And then I'm doing chapter 3 right now. 2 and 5 and 6 were already done. But I'm doing 3 right now. We're at 334 words, and it's basically done. Mind you, this is every single one of these chapters, every single part of a draft 1 for me is without detail. I don't fully know the characters yet, like I know them, but I don't fully know them yet. So this will expand, especially this character, because this character and one of the girl characters I know the least. There's a sound that keeps going through here. It sounds like a whale. I don't know what that is. But anyway, because I know these characters less than the other ones, it's hard to like fully get in their mind. Plus, there's a plotline going on that I'm not fully gonna know how to weave the foreshadowing in until I have a full draft of this, and until I read it through and I like really start making pointers of like draft 2, exactly how to make these foreshadowing happen. So all those 334 words now, it probably will be at least 1,000 words, probably longer. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with short chapters either, by the way, because sometimes a scene literally just has to be short. Sometimes that's just the way it is, because you just need that pointer there. But it'll definitely be longer than this. I do know that because this scene is going to give a lot of information about this character and this character's desires, but also about the world they're in, because he's basically looking at maps. So there's going to be a lot of that. It's just as I'm writing this book / this series and I really get an idea of what the world is like, it'll be easier to fill in the details there. As I'm learning who he is, as I'm learning how the storyline is going to go. Yeah, I think we'll probably add like a little bit more just to finish off this scene, because it's not at a point where I could just cut off this chapter. So the first 3 scenes for the day will probably get me to around 2,000 words. Right now we're at 1974, so I'll probably do just over 2,000 words or so. So yeah, the reason I'm saying this is because the next scenes for chapters 7, 8, 9, and 10 currently all only have 1 scene in them. And all of them, maybe not the one for 10, but all of them are looking like they're gonna be short too. So again, because I don't really have detail, a lot of these first ones are world building. Obviously we're in an epic fantasy story, it's gonna be a lot of world building. So because the world isn't technically fully built in my head, I can't build it right here, because for me to be able to build the world I need to know the story. So yeah, anyway, I'm just gonna basically plot these down, bare bones draft 1, and this story might even go through more drafts than my normal stories go through, but I don't mind that. So it's been a few hours. That's a lie. It's probably been, actually no, that's not a lie. It's probably been like an hour and a half to 2 hours, something like that. I've written chapters 1, 3, 4, and 43. 43 was like partly written, I just finished it. So now the first 6 and the last 6 chapters are actually done. So that's funny. Yeah, 4 out of 10. Like, yeah, where I know we're not getting to 10. Because I keep distracting myself. I don't know what it is. I opened up chapter 32 because this is also one of the chapters where like part of it's written, not the whole thing. So I'm like, maybe I'll just finish off this chapter. And I have a few chapters where part of it's written, although some of these are like barely part of it's written. So, although chapter 16, most of it's written. I just need to finish off that. So maybe I'll do 32 and 16, finish off those chapters, and that'll give me 2 more scenes. We'll see. We'll see. Even in an office, I'm distracted. I literally can't. I don't know what's going on with me. I miss being in Boston and like really having that oomph, that environment, that aesthetic, that feeling. It was like that cozy, cold. I would always have a sweater on with my coffee, sit on the ground. I miss writing. I do have videos of like when I lived there. I used to film a lot more when I lived there because I lived by myself, so it's easier too. I miss it. I started reading this today. Sail Skippers and Sextants. I bought this in Greenwich in the UK when I was there in October. So I was like, oh, I'll read it for research, and that's literally why I grabbed it, so I can read it for research. I'm about 50 pages in. So far, we've gone through people who have been significant within the world. We still have to go through innovations and stuff. But yeah, the reason I'm reading this is to get through the innovation section, because there's a lot of on a boat going on in this story. So I like to know some stuff. But also, one of the characters loves boats. Like, his dream is to, you know, have his own and stuff like that. So I'd like to take innovations from here, put it in. Possibly also, depending on how this goes, take someone who made the innovation and kind of make them a character. Not in the same way, because it's a fantasy world. Like, it's not going to have some of the same technologies and stuff, but like the idea. And then I grabbed my highlighter to like, I've only highlighted one thing so far, but to like highlight something in case like that's something I want to use. And then it's Valentine's Day today, so the office had like donuts and like little cards, so I took this little card so that I could give it to someone, but right now I'm using it as a bookmark. Also, they gave us sweethearts, because of course Valentine's Day, and they also gave us Fun Dip. I haven't had Fun Dip in probably 15 years. I still have the braids in from yesterday. So I finished chapter 16 finally, and then I went through my outline and I realized I had some filler going on. And not in the sense that they were bad scenes. I still think they're good scenes and I probably will end up using them in the future. But I put it down to like the basic fantasy storyline. What are the points that happen? And some of these scenes, I think once I have like a concrete idea of exactly how the storyline's going, will be a great way to incorporate it. But since I don't have that, I want just the ones that are gonna incorporate it, if that makes sense. So now we went from 50 scenes in book 1 to 40 scenes, and we have 17 written, so we're 42.5% of the way through. But yeah, that does make it a little bit easier on me. And I didn't like delete them from the outline either. I just marked them in a different color, so it's easier to tell. But yeah, we have only gotten through one scene today, which is I'm not mad about it. I'm not. But yeah, we are just over 18,500 words into this manuscript. This has been the slowest writing process of my writing journey. I don't know. I am taking a break for a week though. So also I have no energy because yesterday was the first day of Lent and I'm giving up coffee. So I didn't have coffee yesterday, I didn't have it today. I'm drinking tea, but apparently my office only has caffeine-free tea. So, no energy. Alright, so like, I just got out of the shower for a body shower. Right before I got in, I was like, book 1 is in it. There's a reason I'm struggling so much, and I think it's because the outline's just wrong. So, I'm scrapping the whole outline. Which also means the 17 scenes I have written right now, scrapped. That doesn't mean we're deleting them, because there are points, like, there are certain scenes that I know I'm gonna have in book 1 no matter what. Because they're, like, foreshadowing to books that happen, like, book 4 and stuff. But they may be, like, written differently, they may, like, be at a different point. I just know the entire storyline's wrong, because the entire fantasy plotline is just not making sense. It's not tying together. So we're scrapping it. We're gonna write a whole new outline, a whole new story, but only for book 1, because the things that happen later on all make sense. So basically we're gonna redo the outline for book 1 and still kind of make it end at the same point, because, or like end to a point that starts book 2 off the same way because I love book 2. I cannot wait for book 2, and if you're asking why I'm not just going into it, I need to know these characters. I need to know how they're gonna interact in book 1 to know like where the relationship really leads to. Because if you've ever written a book, you know they surprise you sometimes. Sometimes you plan something and you're like, oh, is that what your relationship's gonna be like? Or oh, is that what path you're gonna be taking? Interesting, I did not know that. So yeah, we're not changing book 2, and this like the little bits of scenes that I have outlined for the rest of the books, I still really like. I still think those are right. Book 2 is just fun. I love every part of it, so we don't need to change that. We just need to figure out what this plot is for book 1. And earlier today, one of the characters who has like the least scenes, but one of the characters, I figured out more out, like about who she is, and oh my god, first of all, I'm so much more excited for that one because now I'm like, oh, you're gonna be a fun character now. But also on just the like split second thought I had of like a way to change the plot line before getting in the shower, that's already so much more fun. It's darker, it's more fun. Right now it just felt like things were dragging because I was writing scenes, but I was like, I don't know where all of this needs to like, I don't know what the judge is for this, and you need a judge for book 1. That's something I've definitely learned. But now it's gonna get darker, but it's gonna get so much more exciting. I'm gonna start outlining, and in the next vlog we'll start writing the new book 1.